Hey guys, how's it going? Azra Collections here, and today we're looking at what is a first on this channel, an entire wave of action figures. Today we're looking at the DC Mattel Multiverse Collect and Connect Lobo wave. So this action figure line consists of 4 primary action figures. We've got the Batman Beyond on the left there. We've got Kid Flash right next to him. We've got the Collect and Connect Lobo in the middle, which is our highlight sort of in this video. We've also got the Kingdom Come Superman right next to him. And then at the end there, we've got Kyle Rayner as the Green Lantern in this line. So in terms of building the logo, this is how you can go about doing it. So you get the arms with Kid Flash. You get the head or the alternate head as well. He comes with 2 heads. You can get the heads and the waist section with Batman Beyond, and Superman comes with the torso, and Kyle Rayner comes with both his legs. So before we get into Lobo, let's have a quick look at all the other action figures that come in the line. So we'll start off with Batman Beyond. We've got Batman Beyond here looking pretty cool. He comes with a ton of accessories. He comes with his red pair of wings, so they just plug into the back and they look pretty cool, so they get the job done. He also comes with 2 different head sculpts, one more serious kind of head sculpt here, and the other one's a more grimacing kind of head sculpt on his head there. And we also have 2 extra open kind of hands that he can use, and also a whole bunch of batarangs. So in terms of the articulation, let's just quickly go through that, or let's just start with the paint. So in terms of paint, it's done pretty well. Can't see too many blemishes because this is a straight up black figure. A little bit there on the belt, but that's not that bad. So he does whatever he needs to do pretty well. Yeah, the belt sculpted on pretty well. There's a lot of details. So yeah, it just looks like a pretty cool figure. But I don't really like the forearms and the elbow articulation, but oh well. In terms of the articulation, his head can look not that much up, a little bit down, left and right, and cannot tilt that much. His arms can rotate out. He's got a bicep swivel, single hinge at the elbows, but they're pretty bad, and the wrists can just go around. There's a ab articulation here, so he can crunch back and forth. There's a waist swivel. He can kick out at the crotch, so he can do pretty much the splits. Whoop, he can kick front that much. So I'll just get that looking a little bit better. Kick front that much, and kick back not that much because of the sculpted butt. He's got a thigh swivel here. Double hinge at the knees. They're pretty cool. And he can go up and down, and also a little bit of pivot. So next up we have Kid Flash. He's probably got the least number of accessories in this whole line, and well, Superman kind of ties with him, but he's just got 2 running hands that we can swap out. So other than that, this is what the figure looks like. He's got the same problems and the same, I guess, merit points as the Batman. The paint is done pretty well. Can't see any major flaws in terms of paint. It just does its job well. There are a few dots and blemishes here and there, but then, you know, like with Mattel, you kind of expect that. She's got good sculpt going around as well. The boots, I think, are completely newly sculpted, or at least they look like a different kind of mold apart from these figures in the line. The forearms still suck, and the body is a different kind of shiny plastic, whereas the arms, especially this part, is a little bit different, and that looks more matte. But yeah, so that's kind of weird. All the other paint looks pretty accurate. I mean, yeah, Kid Flash looks alright. So next up we've got Kingdom Come Superman. He's got the same number of accessories as Kid Flash, just 2 running kind of hands, chopping hands. But something that's really weird on the Superman that I figured out is that Kid Flash had some articulation at the hands as well, but Superman just has like a straight up plug that doesn't articulate. So I don't know, that's kind of weird, but something to note. Superman in himself looks pretty cool. He's got a bigger body, other than like he's a little bit bigger than everybody else. Kid Flash is probably the skinniest, and then Kyle Rayner and Batman kind of have the same body, and Superman has the bigger body amongst the normal figures. The Collect and Connect Lobo obviously has a bigger body. I think it's more like the Masters of the Universe Classics kind of figure body, but we can get into that later. So Superman here has good details in his face. I think that's a pretty cool looking face. Yeah, you've got some grays on the hair, but that doesn't really look well applied. The face still does look good. He's got the same articulation points as all the other figures. And the biceps look really weird and disjointed. Like the shoulder joint, yeah, I don't know, that looks weird. Anyways, the waist I don't really like on this figure. He's very narrow, and then the legs kind of like kick out, and then it looks a little bit weird. And the boots are not sculpted on. They've just got like a paint going on, and then there's a black line going through it. It's pretty cool all in all, but yeah, I mean, they could have done that better. And the cape is a little bit stiff, but it gets the job done. I would probably recommend, if you want, like swapping the cape out with like a fabric cape, which I would usually do with figures like this. But then I haven't gotten around to it on this figure yet. But I'd probably swap it over for like a cloth cape. But yeah, Superman has the same kind of articulation as everybody else, so I won't go through that. The symbol looks pretty clean in terms of application, so yeah, no complaints there. Last but not least, we've got Kyle Rayner. He comes with 2 accessories. He comes with this lantern, which kind of looks weird. I don't know. Let's have a closer look at that. Yeah, the lantern does look a little bit weird, but I mean, it's a pretty alright design. I mean, it works for what it is. And he's also got a flaming effect, or more like a lantern construct effect. With the fist, you can kind of see that it fits on the fist. It doesn't resemble a fist that much, but it's pretty cool. And it just fits over the lantern's hand. In terms of the lantern, he's got the most sculpt going on. So the paints, let's look at the paints. Yeah, the paints aren't the cleanest, but you still have like good lines separating all the panels. His face has a lot of sculpt detail, especially with the mask, which is pretty cool. His ring here is also sculpted on, so that's pretty awesome. His gauntlets have sculpt on them with the flaring elbow kind of pads as well. His knees have kind of different look with the padded section. Yeah, he's the action figure with the most, I guess, custom work done to it in terms of the limbs. Yeah, Batman Beyond does have a belt that's fully sculpted. And Superman also has a belt that's fully sculpted, but this guy just has a little bit more in terms of details, especially with the face as well. So yeah, all in all, he's a pretty cool figure. I really like him, but yeah, articulation is the same as everybody else. So, well, finally we get to the main man himself. This is Lobo. He's a pretty cool collect and connect figure. He comes with 2 accessories. One is the chain that he's holding at the moment, and also an alternate head sculpt with the goggles or glasses. So I think the designers did it this way so that we can have 2 different versions of Lobo. And yeah, that's done pretty cool. It's really easy to swap out as well. He also comes with that chain, but I'm not sure, the necklace around his neck. So I'm not sure if that's an accessory, but he does come with that as well. All right, so with Lobo, there's so much details going on. He's got a jacket piece that sits on top of his body. He's got a necklace that he's got around his neck. His face sculpt looks pretty cool. He's just got that badass kind of look. He's got spikes on his jacket. That's pretty cool, but it's out of focus, but that's what it looks like. Yep, that's better in focus. Nothing on the back. Usually he has something printed on the back, but nothing on the back. Oh, and that thigh is just overlapping the trunk section, but yeah, that looks horrible, but oh well. He's got a lot of cool sculpting on his knee pads. The skulls on the knee pads. There's just so much armor going on in his legs. He's got a really cool belt buckle. Yeah, there's just so much going on with this figure. He's really well sculpted, and there's a lot of details. So something really cool about Lobo is his chain accessory. So he's got the hook here, and he's got a pretty long chain, so you can use it pretty much for anything, strangling people or just doing anything with it. So it's pretty well done. And there's a bit at the bottom there that's kind of weighted, or it's not in the figure, but you probably imagine that's weighted. But yeah, that's what he comes with. So let's have a quick look at Lobo's articulation. I just stripped him down just so we can articulate him better, and that's what he looks like with that jacket. He still looks pretty, I mean, yeah, he looks pretty strong. So, you know, he's got that Lobo kind of vibe going on. The jacket probably makes him look better, but I wouldn't really mind this look either. So let's just quickly get into the articulation. So in terms of the head, it can move up that much, but it gets hindered by the hair a little bit. It can go down quite a lot, which is cool. He can look left and right pretty easily, but the necklace does hinder it when you've got it on, and also the jacket. In terms of the hand, he can go out that much, so that's pretty decent. There's swivel at the bicep, single jointed elbow. He can go all the way around. The wrist is ball kind of peg, so the gloves can, yeah, pretty much go around and then also pivot, which is cool. The torso can go forward that much, and the torso can go back that much, which is pretty decent range of motion. There's a waist swivel as well. The pant piece here is a softer kind of plastic, so that gives way for a lot of articulation, so you can pretty much kick out that much. You can kick back that much, which is pretty cool. Oh, you can actually kick back a lot because the butt's not sculpted, so that's pretty cool. You can pretty much do the splits. You can do better than the splits actually, so that's pretty awesome. So yeah, he can do the full splits. You've got thigh swivel a little bit. You've got a single joint in the knee, but it gets the job done. And articulation at the legs, and not much pivot. So yeah, he's pretty articulated, and he can get pretty much a lot of poses down. But yeah, you could probably add a few more articulation points to him and it wouldn't be a bad thing. So in terms of height comparison, this is how they look like next to each other. Lobo's the tallest, Batman's the shortest. Batman should probably be a little bit taller, and Lobo would probably benefit from being a little bit bigger still, but I think it still works out. Superman and Kyle Rayner are, I think, okay, and Kid Flash probably is a little bit too tall, but I mean, it still works out. Alright, so in terms of scale, these figures are a little bit shorter. They're 6.5-inch line, but yeah, I think they compare well against Mezco figure, which is on the extreme right there. That's the Ascending Knight Batman figure from Mezco. And right next to him, we've got the Batman Who Laughs from McFarlane, but that's a 7-inch figure, so it's a little bit taller than everybody else. So next we've got two other 7-inch figures. We've got the DC Direct New 52 Superman from the 3-pack on the extreme right. We've got the DC Essentials Red Hood right next to him. So those are both 7-inch figures, and they're a little bit taller than the average guys, but Lobo's pretty much on par with height, but Lobo's supposed to be like a little bit bigger figure, so I don't think it works, but you know, if you could probably fudge it. So in terms of height comparison, we also have Doomsday at the end there. He's another Collect and Connect figure from Mattel, and he's pretty much humongous, so he's taller than everybody else. But I think this figure kind of does scale in line with that Doomsday, as well as the Marvel Legends figures. So we've got Marvel Legends Venom right next to Lobo, and I think they scale pretty well. So in conclusion, I think this is a pretty good line of action figures. The Lobo is the definite draw here, and the Batman Beyond is a very close second. Kyle Rayner and Superman I'm not that impressed with, but they're still cool figures, and Kid Flash definitely has shelf presence, so he's also alright. I think just for the Lobo, it's a definite must buy for me, and that's why I did. But all the other figures they're not the best, but they're, I think, one of the better Mattel figures. So that's my review, guys. I hope you liked it, and I hope it was helpful in any way. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for tuning in.